The candles flickered against the metal walls of the Sky Citadel, their soft glow out of place amid the humming consoles and silver-blue holograms. Tonight should have been a celebration, a royal hall, a feast, a father's embrace. Instead, Lyra sat alone at a round table built for 20. Her birthday table, 19 years alive, 11 years paralyzed from the waist down, 7 years forgotten by the Wolf King, her father, who ruled the Lycan dominion with a voice that shook galaxies. She traced the rim of her untouched crystal glass, listening to the distant thrum of star engines vibrating through the fortress. Her escorts had left. The servants avoided her. And in the mirrored wall opposite her, she saw the reflection she hated most. The girl who had once run, hunted, and shifted beneath 3 moons, now trapped in a chair of polished obsidian. The forgotten daughter of the most feared ruler in the quadrant. 10 candles, 19 lights on the table. Why did I bother lighting them, she thought. Because she still hoped, even though she pretended she didn't. The door hissed open. Lyra instantly straightened, the old instinct to appear regal snapping into place. Maybe, finally, her father had remembered. But the figure that stepped in was far too slim, far too soft, and far too human to be the Wolf King. He carried a tray awkwardly, as if it weighed far more than it did. I hope I'm not intruding, he said. A human male, brown-haired, mid-20s, wearing the blue and white uniform of a Citadel technician, though his badge identified him as temporary staff. Name, Elias Rowan. No one sent humans up here. Not unless something had malfunctioned. Lyra watched him approach with guarded curiosity. What do you want? He swallowed. Bring your cake. Cake. She blinked. There's no cake scheduled. I know, he said, setting the tray down with almost ceremonial care. That's why I made one. Lyra stared at him. No guard, no servant. No advisor had ever gone out of their way to bring her anything, not since the accident. But this human, with trembling hands and flour still dusting his sleeve, had baked her a birthday cake. Why? She asked, voice thin from disuse. He hesitated. Because today looked like it mattered to you. Lyra's throat tightened. She hated that it did. Elias cut the cake, simple, round, draped in pale icing, and placed a slice before her. He took no seat until she murmured, "Sit." He did, across from her, as if the cavernous hall and its empty chairs were not suffocatingly silent. So, she said, trying to control the waver in her voice, "You're new." "Yes," he replied. "Assigned here 2 weeks ago. My job is maintaining atmospheric regulators." "You're far from your post." "Maybe." His eyes met hers. "But sometimes people need things more than machines do." She stared. "Is that supposed to be wise?" "No," he said, smiling sheepishly. "Just true." The naive sincerity in his tone disarmed her more than any weapon could have. "Humans are strange," she muttered. "Maybe," he echoed. "But so are wolf royals." A laugh escaped her, sharp, unexpected, rusty. She hadn't laughed in months. "How did you end up here?" he asked gently. Lyra lifted a hand to the metal bracers clamped around her legs. "I trusted someone I shouldn't have." "A battle? A betrayal." Her eyes darkened. "Someone cut the stabilizers on my glider. I fell 7,000 feet." His breath hitched. "You survived that?" "Barely." She lifted her chin. "But survival came with a price. My spine shattered in 5 places. The medic saved my life, but not my legs." Elias looked at her with something that wasn't pity, but reverence. "That must have been unimaginable." "It was," her voice sharpened, "until my father convinced himself weakness was contagious. He keeps me hidden, guarded, forgotten." "Then he's a fool," Elias said quietly. Lyra froze. No one spoke of the Wolf King that way. And yet the warmth that bloomed in her chest felt dangerously close to gratitude. They talked about stars, about Earth, about the wild forests of the Dominion Lyra could no longer run through, Elias described rainstorms and ocean tides and the taste of street vendor noodles, painting wonders she had never known. She found herself telling him stories of moon hunts and ceremonial shifts, of the ancient song the pack sang when someone came of age, songs she had once dreamed of hearing on her 19th birthday. His eyes held a quiet sorrow as she spoke. When her voice began to fade, he asked softly, "Do you want to see something?" She arched an eyebrow. "What?" Instead of answering, he stood, approached the far wall, and tapped a hidden control panel Lyra never used. The mirrored wall dissolved, and behind it stretched a panoramic view of outer space. Lyra inhaled sharply as galaxies spun like jeweled spirals, and nebulae blazed in colors no painter could reproduce. The citadel drifted in silence through the lupane expanse, a cosmic river of violet storms and silver dust clouds. Elias stepped behind her, adjusting her chair gently, carefully, until she faced the vastness beyond the glass. Her breath trembled. "I didn't know the wall could do that." "Most people don't," he said. "It's usually locked for high-ranking officials." "So how did you learn?" "I read manuals." He smiled softly. "I like understanding things." She turned toward the window again, unable to tear her eyes away. The stars looked close enough to touch. For the first time in years, she didn't feel trapped. She felt infinite. Minutes passed, or hours, she couldn't tell. Elias finally asked, "Do you ever want to leave this place?" Lyra's throat tightened. "Every day." "Then why don't you?" "My father forbids it." Elias looked at her gently. "So go anyway." She laughed bitterly. "You think it's that simple?" "I cannot walk, Elias." "You don't have to walk." His voice was steady, almost defiant. "You only have to want something enough to move." Her breath caught. Something shifted inside her, not physical but fierce, ancient, alive. She was the daughter of the Wolf King, paralyzed, yes, forgotten, yes, but never weak. A distant alarm chimed, soft but insistent. Elias stiffened. "Your father's guards. They're doing rounds. They'll wonder why the technician bay is unmanned." Lyra turned her chair toward him. "Elias?" He met her gaze. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For giving me the only birthday gift that mattered." He looked at her, really looked, and the moment felt like a held breath in the fabric of space. Then he said, with a courage that surprised them both, "This doesn't have to be your last one alone." Lyra blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean, if you want, I'll come back." Her pulse stumbled. The forgotten daughter. Seen. By a human. A stranger. And yet, someone who had given her what an empire had not. A reason to hope. She nodded slowly. "I would like that." Elias exhaled, relief softening his smile. "Then I'll be here. Next year. Or tomorrow. Or whenever you want." For the first time since her fall, Lyra believed someone meant their promise. As he left, she turned back to the window, watching starlight gather like silver rain. And for the first time in her 19 years, she didn't feel alone at her birthday table. She felt seen, alive, waiting for tomorrow, because a human had walked into her silence and given her back the stars.